I came to her happy, really happy. I had worked so hard for this, waited so long for this moment, and the first thing I wanted to do was share it with someone I loved. But instead of excitement, I got silence. Instead of warmth, I got a flat little smile. Instead of questions, I got a cold, "That's nice," and a quick change of subject. And in that moment, something in me dropped. Because sometimes, the way someone reacts to your success tells you more about the relationship than years of comforting words ever did. Before we get into this, tell me in the comments, have you ever shared a huge win with someone who should have celebrated you and felt them go cold instead? Was it a promotion, an engagement, a pregnancy, a new home, a healing season, a new relationship, a degree, a fresh start? And while you're there, tell me where you're watching from. I always love seeing where you all are and how these stories resonate with women in so many different places. Stay with me until the end, because today we're talking about one of the quietest but most painful forms of relational pain, when your joy exposes what someone else has really been feeling about you all along. There's a kind of pain that doesn't come from direct cruelty. It doesn't come from open conflict, obvious rejection, or someone openly wishing you harm. It comes from something much quieter, and that's exactly why it can hurt so much. Coldness in the face of your achievement. Coldness when you bring good news. Emotional distance when you expected warmth. Silence where you thought there would be celebration. And because this pain comes through absence rather than attack, it's easy to minimize at first. You tell yourself maybe they were tired. Maybe they were distracted. Maybe it just caught them off guard. Maybe you expected too much. Maybe not everybody shows excitement the same way. And yes, sometimes that's true. Not every quiet reaction means something dark. But when someone repeatedly meets your joy with flatness, discomfort, or emotional withdrawal, that pattern matters. Because celebration is not just about saying congratulations. It's about emotional generosity. It's about being able to step into someone else's good moment and expand with them instead of shrinking away from it. It's about letting another person's joy exist without making it feel inconvenient, awkward, threatening, or too much. And this is where so many women get hurt in ways they struggle to explain. They aren't being insulted. They aren't being yelled at. They aren't being openly attacked. They are being met with something colder, a lack of warmth, a lack of curiosity, a lack of delight, a deadness in the room when they bring in life. The reason this hurts so much is because success makes us vulnerable too. We think of vulnerability as pain, failure, heartbreak, insecurity. But joy is vulnerable. Sharing something beautiful with someone is vulnerable. Letting them see what matters to you, what you worked for, what you prayed for, what you almost gave up on, is vulnerable. So when you bring someone your joy and they respond with coldness, it doesn't just disappoint you. It can humiliate you. You start wishing you hadn't said anything. You start feeling guilty for being excited. You start shrinking your own moment to make the room feel safer for them. And that's what this episode is about. Because sometimes the silence after your success is not random. Sometimes it's telling the truth about a bond that words had been covering up for years. Let's imagine Maya's story. Maya had a friend named Erin. They had been close for years. Erin had been there through some hard seasons in Maya's life. Bad jobs, bad dating choices, family stress, money anxiety, all of it. They had cried together, vented together, talked through heartbreaks, disappointments, and confusion about life. Erin was one of the people Maya trusted most. For a long time, Maya saw her as safe. Then, after years of working for it, Maya got the promotion she had been hoping for. Not just a random raise. This was the kind of promotion that meant something. It meant more money, yes, but also recognition. It meant that all the work she had put in, all the doubt she had carried, all the nights she had stayed up wondering if she was good enough, had led to something real. She was proud of herself, not in an arrogant way, in a relieved, emotional, deeply earned way. And one of the first people she wanted to tell was Erin. She imagined Erin lighting up, asking questions, saying, "Oh my God, I knew you'd get it." Maybe even wanting to celebrate. That's what Maya expected, because that's what she would have done. Instead, when she told her, Erin looked at her for half a second and said, "Oh,
Wow,
That's nice. That was it. No smile that reached the eyes. No curiosity. No follow-up. No, tell me everything. Just a flat little pause, then a shift into talking about how exhausting her own week had been. Maya felt something drop inside her. She tried to brush it off. Maybe Erin was distracted. Maybe she was overwhelmed. Maybe it was bad timing. But then she noticed the same thing happening again and again. A few weeks later, Maya mentioned that the new role was going well and that her boss had already given her positive feedback. Erin said, "Well, don't let it get to your head." She said it lightly, almost like a joke, but it landed wrong. Later, when Maya talked about finally feeling financially stable for the first time in years, Erin got quiet. Then she responded with, "Must be nice." Again, not enough to openly confront, but enough to leave a bruise. Then came the pattern Maya could no longer ignore. Erin was warm when Maya was struggling, but cold when Maya was thriving. If Maya had a crisis, Erin was fully present. If Maya was confused about a guy, Erin would talk for hours. If Maya felt insecure, Erin knew exactly how to step in. But when Maya had good news, things got weird. When she moved into a better apartment, Erin barely reacted. When Maya started dating a kind, steady man, Erin joked, "Let's see how long that lasts." When Maya shared that she had paid off a big chunk of debt, Erin just nodded and changed the subject. And over time, Maya began to see something that made her sick to admit. Erin seemed to know how to hold her pain, but she did not know how to hold her joy. And once Maya saw that clearly, she couldn't unsee it. Because the issue wasn't just that Erin wasn't expressive. The issue was that the emotional temperature changed every time Maya brought in something good. And the more Maya noticed that pattern, the harder it became to ignore what it might mean. Now let's talk about why this kind of reaction can be so painful. Because when someone meets your success with coldness, the wound is not just, "She didn't seem excited." The deeper wound is what that coldness suggests. It suggests that your joy may have disrupted something emotionally comfortable for them. And that matters. Because in a healthy bond, your win does not threaten the relationship. It may stir things in the other person. Sure, we're all human. People can feel envy, insecurity, comparison, grief about their own lives. But in a healthy bond, those feelings are not allowed to take the wheel of the moment. Love stays larger than discomfort. Care stays larger than comparison. Support stays larger than ego. But in some relationships, your success changes the emotional hierarchy. Maybe when you were struggling, the other person felt more secure around you. Maybe your confusion made them feel more grounded. Maybe your lack made them feel more settled in their own life. Maybe your pain let them occupy the role of helper, advisor, stronger one, safer one. Then you begin to rise. You get the job. You meet the good partner. You heal. You buy the house. You lose the weight. You build the business. You become visibly, undeniably okay. And suddenly, your life is no longer emotionally convenient for them. That's when coldness often appears. Not necessarily because they consciously hate you, not always because they want you to fail, but because your progress forces them to confront something in themselves they would rather avoid. Your promotion may remind them of where they feel stuck. Your healthy relationship may expose what they keep tolerating. Your confidence may activate the parts of them that still feel small. Your joy may pull them into comparison they didn't want to feel. And instead of processing that discomfort honestly, some people respond with emotional withdrawal. They go flat. They go quiet. They go stiff. They offer half-hearted congratulations. They make a strange joke. They lower the emotional temperature of the room. That is not neutral. Coldness communicates. Silence communicates. Lack of delight communicates. And when this happens repeatedly, it stops feeling accidental. Maya wasn't devastated because Erin failed to throw confetti. She was devastated because she realized Erin's emotional presence depended on the kind of moment she was bringing. Struggle got warmth. Success got distance. Pain got intimacy. Joy got chill. That split can hurt more than direct criticism, because direct criticism at least gives you something to name. But coldness leaves you holding a fog. You know something is off, but you don't always feel entitled to call it what it is. You think maybe you're needy for wanting celebration. Maybe you're dramatic for noticing the shift. Maybe you're demanding too much. But celebration is not too much to want from a close relationship. And no, not everyone expresses joy the same way. But that is not the same as saying every cold reaction is harmless. A person's style is one thing. A repeated pattern of emotional shutdown in response to your wins is another. That pattern tells you something. It tells you that your success is not landing in an emotionally generous place. It tells you the moment is stirring comparison, resentment, discomfort, or a subtle sense of threat. And once that becomes a pattern, your nervous system starts learning something painful. My joy is not safe here. That is why women begin dimming themselves around people like this. Not because they are insecure by nature, but because they have learned that joy brought into the wrong relationship gets punished, even if only by silence. And now we get to the part that does the deepest damage. What starts happening inside you after enough moments like this? Because being met with coldness in your wins doesn't just hurt that one moment. It slowly changes the way you carry your own success. Maya started noticing that she hesitated before sharing anything good with Aaron. At first it was subtle. A pause before sending the text. A second thought before bringing something up. A part of her asking, do I even want to say this out loud? And then it became a pattern. She started softening her excitement, downplaying her own wins, talking about her promotion like it wasn't a big deal, mentioning good things quickly, almost apologetically, acting less proud than she really felt. That's a huge emotional cost, because now the success itself is no longer the only thing you're carrying. You're also carrying the anticipated discomfort of someone else's reaction to it. You're trying to stay happy while also managing the room. You're trying to feel proud without sounding too proud. You're trying to share joy without accidentally making someone colder. And the result is that your own life starts becoming emotionally cramped in your own mouth. Maya also started feeling something that made her deeply sad. Guilt. Guilt for being excited. Guilt for doing well. Guilt for talking about good things. Guilt for receiving something she had worked hard for. And this is one of the quietest ways relational pain can distort a woman from the inside. It can make her treat her own joy like something rude. Something that should be delivered carefully, briefly, modestly, in a tone that doesn't challenge anyone else's emotional comfort. That is not how joy should live. Joy should breathe. Joy should be witnessed. Joy should be met. Joy should not have to apologize for existing. But when a person repeatedly meets your good news with emotional flatness, your body learns. It learns that success may cost you warmth. It learns that celebration may trigger distance. It learns that people feel safer with your wounds than with your expansion. And that can be devastating. Maya started realizing that she felt more emotionally exposed sharing good news than sharing pain. Think about that. It felt safer to talk about what was broken than what was beautiful. Safer to talk about uncertainty than confidence. Safer to talk about what was missing than what had finally arrived. That is what coldness does. It trains you to make your wins smaller so the relationship can remain intact. But that training is a betrayal of self. Because little by little, you stop showing up in the full truth of your life. You become strategic with your happiness, protective with your accomplishments, quiet around your own blooming. And eventually, if you're not careful, you start confusing self-protection with humility. So if you are living through something like this, I want to say something clearly. You are not too much because you wanted joy to be met with joy. You are not immature because coldness hurt you. You are not arrogant because you wanted someone close to you to actually celebrate what mattered to you. Your discomfort is not proof that you are needy. It may be proof that something in you is still emotionally healthy enough to recognize a missing response. And yes, the other person may be insecure. They may be grieving their own life. They may be trapped in comparison. They may not even fully understand what they're feeling. But understanding that does not mean you have to keep bringing your brightest moments into a room that keeps dimming them. You are allowed to protect your joy. You are allowed to notice when someone knows how to sit with your pain, but not your success. And you are allowed to stop translating emotional coldness into harmlessness just because it came wrapped in light words. So let me close this episode with one very clear thought. Not every cold reaction is meaningless. Sometimes the silence says exactly what the words are hiding. If someone consistently goes flat when you win, if they grow cold when you share good news, if they redirect, minimize, joke, withdraw, or emotionally disappear in moments that should have felt warm, that matters. Because the absence of celebration is not always neutral. Sometimes it reveals something the relationship had been hiding all along. Maybe they loved being needed. Maybe they were comfortable when you were uncertain. Maybe your success shifted the emotional balance in a way they could not tolerate well. Maybe your joy confronted them with pain they never dealt with inside themselves. Whatever the reason, your win did not become smaller just because they failed to meet it. And that is important to remember. Maya's promotion was still real. Her progress was still real. Her life was still changing.
Her joy was still valid.
Aaron's coldness didn't make any of that less true. But it did reveal that the relationship was not as emotionally generous as Maya had believed. And that kind of realization hurts because it changes the meaning of so many moments before it. It makes you wonder how many times the support was partial. How many times the encouragement had hidden limits. How many moments of comfort were easier for the other person because your life was still small enough not to disturb them. That grief is real. Because what you lose is not only the reaction you hoped for. You lose the illusion that your joy was safe in that person's hands. But here is what I want you to hold on to. Your joy does not have to become quieter just because someone else became colder. Your success does not need to be edited down to stay acceptable. Your life does not need to remain small to preserve someone else's emotional comfort. If someone cannot celebrate you in a healthy way, that is painful. But it is also information. It tells you where your joy can breathe. It tells you where your joy gets tolerated, not welcomed. It tells you who knows how to love you in your becoming, not just in your brokenness. Because a healthy relationship does not require you to hide your wins. It does not make you feel guilty for rising. It does not punish you with emotional winter every time something good happens in your life. The right people may not always scream, cry, or throw confetti.
But you will feel them with you.
You will feel the warmth, the softness, the genuine delight, the emotional room they make for your joy. That is what you deserve. Not applause with resentment underneath it. Not polite words with cold energy behind them. Not support that only exists while your life stays non-threatening. You deserve relationships where your success does not have to apologize or itself. Now I really want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, what was the moment you realized your success had made someone go cold? Was it a promotion, a pregnancy, a relationship, a degree, a move, a glow-up, a healing season? What happened? And what did their reaction reveal to you? Share your story because your experience might help another woman name something she has been doubting for too long. And if this episode spoke to you, like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one.